Have you ever wanted your feet to look more like Hobbit feet?
Hello there.
Well, who hasn't? And I think I found a way to do just that. My first thought was to take my old Vibram toe shoes that I used to use for working out all the time and paint them with some fabric paint and glue fur on the top of them. In fact, I even started looking at different colored variations of toe shoes to see if I could find white ones, which you can, but they were around $70, which I thought was a little bit steep for just making some Hobbit feet that I'd be using to wear to like a Ren Fair or for cosplay or something. And I wasn't really sure if I wanted to paint my Vibrams. And then one day I happened to be watching a video of someone cleaning their floor and they had these really unusual slippers on their feet. So I did some digging and I found them. These are the most ridiculous slippers I have ever seen in my life. And they look ridiculous on your feet. I am like, so ridiculous. But aren't they perfect for Hobbit feet? Oh my gosh. And you can even buy ones that have more of a heel to them if you want them to be a little bit more like up your heel a bit more. I like these ones, mainly because the price point was better for making this video. So I got these ones off of Amazon. And there were loads of sellers with them, so I'm sure you can find a pair for yourself. And what I thought would be really fun is to modify these Hobbit feet to make them, modify these foot slippers and make them look more like Hobbit feet. So the first thing I want to do is just add some depth and detail around the toes and make them look a little bit more dirty in between, like somebody who's been walking around outside in their bare feet quite a bit. I looked up a few different ways of how to stain or paint these. The issue being that these are apparently vinyl rubber. At least when I looked on the Amazon, like I thought they were probably like a more of a silicone or latex or something. But it says they're vinyl. So apparently rubber is notoriously difficult to stain or paint. So this might be a problem. From what I've kind of delved into, apparently you can use fabric dye. You can also use coffee. Coffee will stain rubber a little bit, so I might try that just to make them look a little dirtier. The other thing I was seeing is that if you use a bit of Mod Podge and then use some acrylic paint over top, if you're doing indoor stuff, that it might stay for a while, but then you might have to touch it up in the future. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to just use some Mod Podge and acrylic paint and see if I can just make the nails look less like the same color here and kind of go from there. So this is really a huge experiment. I have no idea if this is even going to stay, but we won't know unless we try, right? So we need to try to make these look less like one shade of color. So that's my goal, just around the toenails and that. Without any further ado, I am going to paint these. So I started by just painting the toenails and in between the toes with the Mod Podge, and then decided to do all around the toes in their entirety because I wasn't sure how much I would actually be weathering around there, so I wanted to make sure the whole things were covered. It's just a little bit of dirt around there, right? Like, you don't want it crazy. I kind of like that. Just gives the toes a little bit more depth. That's cool. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry, and then we are going to get some fur and make them hairy hobbit feet. Now that I have my toes a little bit painted, adding some depth and detail around them, I might go in and add more later on, but for now I'm going to leave them like this. I know it's really hard to see. You can kind of see that they're not exactly like blending in like they were. So now I'm going to take some fake fur and see if I can adhere that to the top part of the foot and make it look a little bit hairy. There's fur flying everywhere. Fake fur is kind of my nemesis. I hate working with it. It gets everywhere. I've worked with it on my other channel, and it's just like afterwards I find it like just all over me, all over the floor. It is everywhere. So yeah, I'm not really sure how this is gonna work. I don't think that I'm going to just take a piece and glue it on the top, because while entertaining, it just kind of looks like, you know, a Bigfoot foot or something. Like you just threw some fur on there. So what I want to do is take some tufts of the fur and pull them out, or cut little pieces off, and see if I can glue that just on the top with some super glue. And I have a couple different shades. So I cut off a little piece of this brown, and I have this darker color because I want to mix the two. It's already everywhere. I want to mix the two together. I don't know. I just kind of want it to be more obvious that it's on the feet, so we'll see. Cool, 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 cool. Start with one. Ooh, I'm chilly. It's cold down here. I'm going to put some accelerator on here so that when I glue the hair down, it sticks pretty fast. At first I started out by holding the fur in some pliers and applying the glue to the end of it and then sticking it down. I quickly realized that not only do you need to wear gloves in order to prevent the glue from sticking to your hands and everything else, but it was a lot easier if you applied the glue directly to the slipper and then twisted up some fur and then stuck it down to the slipper into the glue. You can also use something like a toothpick or a skewer like I did in order to help manipulate the fur in the glue. Yeah, this does get everywhere, and I had to change my gloves multiple times, so lessons were learned. Wear gloves when doing a project like this, definitely, and expect it to be messy, and have patience, and expect it to take time. So by the time I got to the second slipper, I had my technique down, and it took me a lot less time, but it was still messy and fiddly. And last piece of advice I could probably give you is you will probably get fur all over the tip of your crazy glue. Do not put the cap back on. Wait till it dries, peel off that glue, and then put the cap back on. Otherwise, you can't get the cap off again. Mistakes were made. I have fur all over the place here, like everywhere. It's just flying. Okay, I'm weirdly obsessed with these hobbit feet. Right? Oh my goodness. Okay. Clearly, if you had different color fur, you could make them look more brown or whatever color you want your hair to be for your Hobbit, but this is just what I had lying around. I didn't really want to go outside and get different kinds, so this is what we have. But I'm kind of obsessed with them. I feel like at around the toes, I kind of do wonder if I am gonna weather them a little bit more, so we'll see. But for now, I kind of love them. Like, it's ridiculous. I can't wait to see what they look like on my feet. But I do want to make sure this one is dried, and then I'll put them on and I'll see if I'm happy with how they look, because they are ridiculous and it is silly but fun. I love them. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's try them on. Okay, I'm slightly obsessed with these. It's ridiculous. I will show you. Look. Right? How crazy is that? You just need this, like the crazy foot slippers. You need a little bit of fur, some Mod Podge and acrylic paint, and boom, you have Hobbit feet for your Hobbit costume. I really hope that you make these and try these, because this was stupid fun and you'll feel silly, and anything in life where you feel silly doing it just makes you feel so much better. So please try this. I will be making more Hobbit costume pieces. So you want to see more quirky and weird costumes like this, or other Ren Fair Ren Fair LARP or D&D costumes, props, and things like that, then make sure you subscribe so we can continue to have fun and make these projects in our craft room here in our basement. And I will see you next time. Bye. Now I need to go walk around in my new Hobbit feet and freak out my family. Aren't they great?
There's something.
You don't love them?
They're very, very Hobbity.